for me at least, and I think for a lot of people, it's true that like memorizing things becomes a lot easier if you associate the thing you're trying to remember with something weird, strange, and if it's personal, usually that can make it a lot better too. So we're gonna go ahead and prove that right now with South American countries here. So South America is actually probably, I'd say, the easiest continent aside from Australia in terms of identifying all of the countries. Australia is better because there's only one. Cetera is the name of this website. So this is going to give us a random order of these countries. And so I'm just going to go, as they give me the countries, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what I use to remember them and how they can be very easily memorized. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first country is Argentina. Argentina is the second biggest country in South America, and fun fact, Argentina has penguins. So I always think in my head, Penguintina. There's a penguin that came from Antarctica, lives in South America now, and guess what that penguin's name is? Tina. So it's Penguintina, Argentina, really far south, and again, remember, it's the second largest, so it's a really big mass of land here. So that's Argentina right there. Chile, or Chile, if you're from the United States. Chile looks like a dried chili pepper. Chile. So if you've ever seen like a red, one of those red, dry, long chili peppers, it looks kind of like this country because it's so long and thin and slender. So that's Chile right there. Chile. French Guiana. So let's talk about Guyana a little bit. So there are two countries in South America that have Guyana in the title. One of them is just Guyana, spelled Guyana. This one is French Guiana, Guiana. And so I think there's a possibility to kind of get those confused. Here's how I remember them. So we're looking at these three countries here. All of the other ones are very easily identifiable in terms of their shape, but these three are kind of like in their own little section, you know, they're one right after the other, 1, 2, 3, connected. And so I use kind of one mnemonic to remember all three of them. But so we have this guy, right? So look at this first country here. It kind of has the shape of a guy, okay? So you can see it two different ways. Either here's his head, here are his arms, and here are his legs. It's kind of like a terribly drawn stick figure. Or if you don't really see that, look at this. Here's a hat right here. If you follow my mouse, there's a hat, and then here's their head, and then here like their shoulders. It kind of looks like a guy, okay? So you're gonna have to do some suspension of disbelief here. I know it's like, it doesn't really look like that, but you have to tell yourself, oh, it totally does. You just need to find it. Find that shape. That is a guy, okay? And that guy's name is Anna. So this is Guyana, right? That's Guyana. This one right next to it, we'll get there eventually. This one is called Suriname. Suriname? I don't know how to pronounce it, actually. Let me look that up. Interesting. Suriname. So that's how it's pronounced. However, it looks like surname, right? S-U-R-N-A-M-E, like the word surname. Like that means somebody's last name. So this person, this guy named Anna, his first name's Anna, his last name is Suriname. His family name is just Suriname. Suriname, I guess, apparently. So that is Guyana, Suriname, because it's his guy named Anna and his Suriname. So what about this one? This furthest right of these three. So this is also Guyana. This is another guy named Anna, but he's from France. And how do we know that? It is the closest country of these three. It's the closest one to France. So if we know, like, okay, France is in Europe. Europe is like northeast somewhere. That's like France is way up here. So the French Guiana. So that's this guy right here. So we got a guy named Anna, surname, and then we have French Guiana. He's like kind of in a disguise now. So Guyana, surname, French Guiana is this one right here. Boom. Come with me on this journey of information. We'll land, I promise, we'll arrive at a destination and we'll know that this is Colombia. So like I said, this country is kissing Panama, and it is also the country of this continent that connects to Central and North America. Now, America, specifically the United States of America, was the destination of one Christopher Columbus. So, this is Colombia, related to Columbus, Christopher Columbus, because it's so close to where Columbus actually landed. So, Colombia is Columbus. We're headed to America. We're headed to the United States of America. So that's Colombia. Peru is the one country here that forms a rounded U shape. It has this sort of like arcing U shape. So Peru, if you really over in your head, whenever you say Peru in your head, you should say it Peru with the U being extra enunciated. So that's Peru. Brazil, easiest country to spot. It is the largest one. Brazil is huge. It has so many people. I want you to guess how many people live in Brazil. Go ahead and guess. No, you're wrong. It's 214.3 million people. It is the 5th largest country in the world by area and the 7th most populous country in the world. So it is a big, big country, which is great for us because we're just trying to spot it on a map. So it is in South America. The largest country in South America by far is Brazil. So it's just that one right there. Easy to find. Guyana. Oh, who's Guyana? That guy named Anna. Look, there's that guy right there. There he is. Guyana. Oops. Bolivia is next. So Bolivia, when I think of this country, I always say it in my head. I say it a certain way, and it kind of helps me to remember what it looks like. Bolivia. So I really over-enunciate the bo, even though it's just Bolivia. Bolivia, because it's an O, it's really rounded, relatively speaking. So it's really rounded, and not only is it really rounded, it is one of the only landlocked countries. It is the O-shaped landlocked country, so it does not touch a coast. It's essentially, bear with me here again, if South America were a donut or a bagel, then Bolivia would be the whole of that donut. See, like, okay, maybe you'd be like, oh, what if this one is, because this one's landlocked too. Does that look like the whole of a donut? It doesn't. This does. This is way more central. Bolivia, right in the middle, smack dab in the center of South America. There it is. Now, we have Paraguay. So, Paraguay and its country that is very similar to it, Uruguay, or Uruguay, I think of these countries together, right? They're kind of like connected in my brain. It makes it easier to remember them because we're not remembering each one separately. We're remembering them as a set. So, we have Paraguay and Uruguay. Something to know about them is that they are the two southernmost small countries, which is kind of a weird thing to think of, but they are near the bottom of the continent and they're small. There are only a couple that are like that. So they're easy to spot distinctly from the others, but we still need to differentiate themselves from each other. One of them has a parachute. So that means that they're higher up in the air. They're floating down, but they're still up in the air. They have a parachute. That is Paraguay. The one lower, the one under, spelled with a U, is Uruguay, also spelled with a U. So that's Paraguay. That's Uruguay. Moving on to the next country, we got Venezuela. Venezuela is the hat of South America. It is, though. South America, if it had a hat, and one of these countries where it's hat, these three guys, they're just some guys. This is the real hat. However, don't worry, I have an easier way to remember it too. Venezuela, capital V. Look at this country and tell me it does not form a V-like shape. Like an exact V-like shape. Very triangular, very V-shaped Venezuela. Alrighty, next up, almost done. Next up we have Ecuador. Ecuador is easy to remember, and if you're looking at a full map of the world with all the lines and latitudes and longitudes and the equator, it's very easy to to notice because the equator is right here. It's not shown on this map, but you're just gonna have to take my word for it. It's right there. This is the equator. And this is Ecuador. Ecuador is located on the equator. That's kind of, I'm assuming, where it got its name. So you have this mainland country, but you know what else is part of Ecuador? This little dot right here. So if you're like, oh, I don't really know where the equator is here. Easy to remember because Ecuador has two little bits to it. That's on the equator. And this island right here is also directly on the equator. These two parts are like kind of centered with each other. They're like off-centered and then somebody centered them on the literal equator of the world. So that is Ecuador right there. Suriname. Surname. See, look at that. I wasn't lying. Surname. If you were like quickly read this in a paragraph, you might accidentally say to yourself, surname. Whose surname is this? That guy named Anna. Boom. And then Uruguay. Paraguay's up here, right? That's this guy. This guy up here is parachuting. Uruguay is under him. So that is Uruguay. There we go. So that is the countries and an easy way to remember them. Let's go ahead and rapid fire go through them all. Let's go ahead and restart. We got Ecuador located on the equator. Suriname, the guy named Anna's last name. Uruguay, that is under Paraguay. Brazil, the largest country. Venezuela, V-shaped, hat of South America. Colombia, related to Christopher Columbus. French Guiana, the French version of Guyana. Argentina, Penguin Tina lives here. You can't miss her. Chile, looks like a chili. bOlivia, hole-shaped, donut hole of South America. Paraguay, parachuting Guay. Guyana, that guy named Anna right there. And PerU, the U-shaped country. So there we go. Let me know what section of the world I should do next. What should my next continent be? But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.